Everyone. So today I'm going to be talking about the L1 to L2 learning strategy, or first language to second language. This learning strategy utilizes both the native and the second languages of the students in your classroom to encourage continued language acquisition as well as knowledge transference. So as you work through your lesson, the teacher will utilize vocabulary words, new phrases, or context clues translated into both the native language and their second language so that students are able to better pick up on new content areas as well as transfer their literacy skills from the first language into their second language. Today, I'm going to be teaching about cellular respiration in our lesson, and the students and I are going to be building the formula for cellular respiration together as a group. In biology, there's a lot of scientific jargon that is used, and that can make the development of language a little bit more difficult for students because it's a lot of words that they may not be familiar with, even in their first language, depending on when they started their journey learning their second language. So in today's lesson, we're going to be, like I said, we're going to be building the formula for cellular respiration. And up on the board, I'm going to have color-coded signs for each of the products and reactants of the formulas before we write them that are translated to both the native language and the second language, in this case, Spanish and English, for the students in the classroom. So I decided to focus on the vocabulary within cellular respiration and some of the scientific jargon, including carbon dioxide, oxygen, water, sugar, and energy. While some of these words might not be considered scientific jargon, and the students may already know them in both their second language, including water and sugar, because these are common vocabulary words, I wanted to highlight that these are important for the lesson and also for this content area, not just cellular respiration, but as we move on into photosynthesis and other units in the classroom. So I chose these words specifically so that the students have a strong base for when we start our lesson in cellular respiration, because these words are going to be used repeatedly throughout our lesson. So how I did that is similar to the idea of zone of proximate development created by Mr. Vygotsky. So the students that I have in my classroom would be in 9th grade and a little bit further in their language development. But as you use this lesson in your classroom, you'll want to speak to their other teachers and kind of figure out where they are in their language development, and then use that as a basis to decide for what vocabulary words, what phrases you would want to translate to the native language so that they're able to understand your lesson. L1 to L2 should be used alongside with comprehensible input, just like we talked about in class, but it can be a really great addition to the classroom, especially for students who are learning words that they may not know or have heard of in English before, which is why I mentioned our scientific jargon in the biology class. So today in our lesson, like I said, there will be color-coded signs. The gases are color-coded in green, as you can see here. So carbon dioxide and oxygen will both be green so that they can remember that those are gases. Green for gases. And then water is blue, just because that's the color that water is. Energy is spiky and yellow because it gives us the energy to do the activities that we do every day. And then sugar is red to differentiate from the other ones. So along with the translations from their first language to their second language, I've also utilized some visual inputs from using the colors that can help them remember each what each molecule is in the formula. And then as we go through building the formula together, the students will be working along with me and making connections to our previous unit in photosynthesis, as well as some things that we do in everyday life, like eating candy and running through the woods. So, yep, thank you. All right, good Good morning, girls and boys. So before we get started with what I have up here on the board, if you guys want to take a few minutes and eat the candy that you picked up on the way in the door, I'll give you a few minutes for that. All right, so now that we've had a few minutes to eat our candy, can anyone tell me what they think happens to that candy after we swallow it? Yes, Marcus. You digest it. Yep. So our food goes into our bellies and then we digest that food. And what happens when we digest it is it gets broken down. So that little tiny candy bar gets broken down even smaller and smaller and smaller. And then once those candy bars get broken down into singular molecules of food, then it goes into our cells and we can make energy. So this process where we make energy out of little tiny food particles, that is called cellular respiration, which is on the top of your note packets that you guys have in front of you. So if you guys want to open up to the first page of your note packets, we're going to do a little bit of an activity together, okay? So as you guys may recall, for photosynthesis, we had made a big formula of what it uses and what it makes. And we're going to do that today for cellular respiration as well. So like I said, after we eat those candy bars, it gets broken down into little tiny food particles or sugar, azúcar. So this food molecules are sometimes called glucose, but we'll just call it sugar, azúcar. So the first thing that we take in cellular respiration is going to be that sugar, azúcar, and it is C6H12O6. Have we seen that somewhere before? Yes, we saw it in photosynthesis. Perfect, guys. So our sugar, azúcar, is C6H12O6. Make sure you guys have this all written down in your notes, okay? And then next, what goes in our lungs when we breathe in? Yes, Abby. Air, yes. And that air that we breathe in is made up of something called oxygen or oxígeno. And oxygen is O2. But when we do cellular respiration, when we're making energy, we need 6 of these. So our formula will be 6O2, right? So those are the only 2 things that we use in cellular respiration. So we're going to draw our big long arrow. And the things that we make in cellular respiration. So if oxygen, oxígeno, is the thing that goes in when we breathe, what is the thing that comes out? Yes, perfect, carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide, or dióxido de carbono, that is the first thing that we make in cellular respiration. And we're also going to make 6 of those. So it will be 6CO2. Perfect. And then the other thing that we make is water, or agua. And we're also going to make 6 waters. So it'll be 6H2O. And the last thing that we make, why do we eat food? What do we need from our food? Regina, we need energy to go run around the playground. Perfect. So the energy, or energía, that is used in our cells is called ATP. Perfect. All right, so let's go over this one more time. So in cellular respiration, we eat a candy bar, and it gets broken down into tiny, tiny food molecules, or sugar, azúcar, which is C6H12O6. And then we also, when we breathe in oxygen, or oxígeno, which is O2, and we use 6 of those, so 6O2. And then we come the whole way across our arrow, and the first thing that we make is carbon dioxide, dióxido de carbono, which is CO2, and we make 6 of those. We make water, H2O, water or agua, and we make 6 of those. And lastly, we make energy or energía, which we call ATP. All right, so perfect. Make sure you guys have this written down in your notes, and then we're going to move on.